Howdy, y'all. Sorry it's taking so long to get back with you all. But when you get a blown out knee, if you ever talk to anybody with a blown out knee, they can tell you it'd take 2, 5, 10 days to get past that. And by the time I got past one blown out knee, the other one's starting to blow out. So anyway, a lot of joint juice and cartilage builder, blah, 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 little injection, all that good stuff. Help them knees do what they need to do. So I'm back in black, I hit the sack, whatever, however that goes. I don't know. That was back in the 70s. I grew out of that stuff. I just remember that phrase, back in black. Except I'm back in blue, green, something or other. I can't tell colors like women. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about fictions in law. Every government agency in the entire continental United States, including Alaska and Hawaii, are fictions of law. The state you live in is a fiction of law. That's why it has invisible boundaries. Just like people have invisible disabilities, there's an invisible boundary where a sign is put up based on some either meets and bounds surveyor or a statutory surveyor. If it's been in the last probably 75 years, it's a statutory surveyor that does statutory surveys versus meets and bounds, which is lawful measurements and distances and so forth. Anyway, they're all fiction of law. A fiction of law stays in here. This is a circle. Okay, so we, the people, set them up. They operate in a fiction of law. Okay, so long as they stay in that fiction, okay, then they're okay. But if they step outside of that fiction of law, then they're in deep doo-doo. We, the people, are in this. This is the organic people. This is the organic we, the people. We wrote on dead wood, which was parchment, paper, whatever they call it. It was dead wood. Okay, you ever heard set in stone? Well, this was set on dead wood. So it was ink on dead wood. The Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the American People's Compacts. What gave the dead wood life and brought it to life, okay, were their signatures. Their signatures moved the document to life to make it organic. Okay, now what has happened after 150, 180 years, basically more or less, in 1933 when you went into the bankruptcy. Let me back up. The Federal Reserve Act of, I think, 1915, I have to go back and make sure that's right. There were a lot of changes, and they started subtly even before that in 1913, monkeying around with some things. So the way I like to think about it is 1913 to 1933, 20 years between pre-making it and making the Federal Reserve Act, and then 20 years later, the United States, not United States of America, but the United States filed bankruptcy. The people didn't, but a fiction corporate government did. But the chartered, organic people's compacts that were made for and by the people, that had the people's signatures as three separate branches of government, being the Congress with the most authority, that makes all the laws, the true laws. Then you got the president that takes care of the day-to-day operations in emergency situations that are open and notoriously posted for a limited amount of time. Then you have a Supreme Court over here who interprets if the president's day-to-day operations are unconstitutional. If they're constitutional, unconstitutional, are non-constitutional. Contracts are non-constitutional. They're outside completely. And they decide if the Congress is acting constitutionally, unconstitutionally, or non-constitutionally. Okay, so that's your three branches. And if you get into we the people, the people's juries, the people's sheriffs, the people's constables, grand juries, writs of habeas corpus, and all the other things that we have at our disposal, then there's really a fourth branch. And Anthony Scalia talked about that fourth branch, which is also the militia. It's a big pool, the militia, the jury, the so forth and so on in the common law. Looking around me here, I got to keep a lookout for people, see what's going on around here. I'm at a private place that's supposed to be having a gathering here of many people today to discuss many various issues. And I thought, hey, I got 5 or 10 minutes. Boom, yeah, it's a good time to talk about this stuff. So that's how come you have two separate governments. One of them is the people's organic covenant constitutional government right here. Then the other side is this here thing that is statutes. It's over here. And they try and get you to think that this doesn't exist and only this exists. But really they're in a circle and this is a circle, and the two can never touch. One is real, that's us, we're tangible, and this is a piece of paper that's in fantasy land. This is reality, and these two can't touch. And remember, fiction dies when reality shows up, or they say fiction dies when truth arrives. So you're always pretending, and you're always in a fantasy world with government agencies until truth shows up. When truth shows up, it dissolves. It's like a washing away, it goes away. So you have to prove you're real by your very appearance that you're there, and you have to call on your appearance that you're there, and you have to denounce the fantasy. The truth is here. I am truth. I'm made in the image of God. Or if you're not a Christian, you're just a man, and you still say I'm a man, I'm real and I'm tangible. Poof, you're gone. Okay. So fiction versus reality. And by the way, for the dozen or so people that keep Jonathan Henry Spill, what's that criminal biography? We want it. Well, what I may have to do over this weekend, I've been trying desperately not to do this because I don't want to give you this much actual factual truth when there's this much, So in other words, I got this much, but I got from here to here. Like, this is what I got now. It's good, it's worthwhile, but it's way bigger. Now, 6 months or a year down the road, it may be as long as my truck, okay? But what I don't want to do is report something that's inaccurate, something that I don't have a hard, cold record in my hand from the judiciary, from the court system, or from the correctional system, or from the police department that's actually entered in the computer as truth and fact. It's got a little mugshot there and all that stuff. So I am working on it, and I guess if people keep pressing me, I'm just going to go ahead and release it and say to be continued. And I may have to have a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4 and 5. It may be like Back to the Future. I may have a sequel. I may give you what I got and get the rest later, whatever it takes. And then because of everything that evil man done, it caused a lot of issues for a lot of people. But also, by the way, he acted and presented himself as an attorney at law esquire to my assistant on overstate communications. He also did the same thing to me. He presented himself as an attorney for the Electronic Foundation, Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF. He represented himself as their attorney, and he was their client. They've been notified, and they have the IP addresses, and they have all of his information. And so everything has now been forwarded to the proper authorities for prosecution for practicing law without a license 2 times. Told you this guy was doing it. Now we got proof positive he can't get out of. Okay, for you all that like me, great. If you don't, okay too. Damond, DAYMOND 4040, Damond 4040 at yahoo.com. That's my PayPal account, Damond, DAYMOND 4040 at yahoo.com. That's the PayPal account. You got $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, send it as a gift. It helps me, it helps my church. Okay? And to Mr. L. Lima, who has supported me and has supported my assistant, thank you. To Mr. Phil, hey, he's actually doing things that's helping the quality of my life. And me and my family's forever grateful to Mr. Phil. And to all the other people that have either sent their prayers, some sent a gift of some sort, thank you, thank you, thank you. Little halos over your head, thank you so much. God bless you all. I am so happy to be back with y'all, and I'm hoping to turn out some more videos here real quick. But also my wife was kind of down and sick, and I had a lawful battle I had to go fight on behalf of my wife from somebody that was a wrongdoer. Anyway, I'm not at liberty, and you know why, to get into the this and that and the other. But I can say that out of demands, counter demands, claims and counterclaims and so forth, we got 95.5% of all of our demands. If you go down and you say, okay, I want this, this, and this, and this, and you got like 100 demands, but you want clarified or reclarified, and you want this, that, and the other, you want this, and you don't want that, and it all adds up to something. Well, we got 95.5% of our claims and counterclaims and so forth. Okay, the opposing side got a little bit of what they wanted, which is okay. But I would say we got the lion's share of what we said was lawfully right and correct. So, although we can't dance a jig, as it were, we can have a happy face at the end of the day, and God prevailed. I prayed before, during, and after all these events, and y'all always pray for us. So that's going to be of help to our church and of help to our home, but it still doesn't cover the bills. You know, I got health issues, my wife has health issues, and then we got a special needs son. And I don't think I'm talking out of line when I say our son alone, all by himself, it takes $10,000 a year to take care of his special needs. Okay? You know, doctors, medications, insurance, copay, so forth and so on. There may be people that may pay more than that for a healthy child because of claims. I don't know. And that's okay. And if I could go out and work a full-time job, 40 hours a week, and utilize all my skills, that'd be a drop in the bucket. Or if somebody supplies some insurance, that'd be a drop in the bucket. But when you're on a shoestring budget, $10,000 is a lot, and that's for one. That ain't counting us. And then, of course, we have service dogs. Too. We got 2 service dogs that help with my son, and you got to feed them rascals and stuff too. Anyway, do what you can. If this is how much money you got, don't worry. God's not talking to you. But if you got money and it's that thick and it's $100 bills, you can peel off 1 or 2. You know, if you say, hey, I can forsake a movie, we're just going to go out to a movie and it's going to be $40 or $50 or $60 for us to get popcorn in a movie, and you cut out that one time to help, thanks. You know, if you got a brand new cell phone, a good cell phone, one that's got a lot of RAM and a lot of speed, but it's an Android. These iPhones, I've tried to use them and they're just driving me bananas. But a good Droid phone, a new Droid phone that's got like 4 gigabytes of RAM and 100 gigabytes of slide data or whatever, where I can use it to broadcast out in the field, because this one's going kaput, and sometimes I can get in my office and sometimes not. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you can't, I'm still going to be here. I love you people. I love y'all. God bless you. And I got some new strategies and techniques that y'all want to know about. Thank you. God bless you, and have a great day. That's all. Bye-bye.